of somewhat more known names, but generally speaking, I think they're a bit more of a question mark, really. So I'd be looking at TYLOO to clean this one up 2-0 tonight. No real problems, even though they've been going through a few sort of instability type situations.
Yeah, just pound for pound, they bring a very attractive looking roster to the server every single time. So we're not going to have to wait too long for this one. Straight into the game, straight into Mirage. And look, another, Mongolian kind of mixed team coming out on NomadS. Going to be kicking things off with a very slow approach out of A, waiting for the set utility thrown by Shinobi. And it'll be a full retake approach for TYLOO, who have set up around B in middle.
Yep, they're going to be happy with that. And they're just looking to see if they can grab a USP shot or two right through here, but not going to happen, at least not in the case of Attacker, but he's not supposed to be the driving force behind this team. It should be the rest of the lads. Mercury, however, has already dropped, so it is a 3-on-5. And time now starting to tick away from TYLOO. No defuse kit in sight at the moment. Mosey, a bit of a trouble for him in that window, but he's going to be able to get himself at least one. It was, unfortunately, the low HP player, and this doesn't look like it's going to go very well for TYLOO at all. So no retake secured there. Great start for NomadS. Quick play onto the A site. Just get the ball rolling nice and early.
Yeah, be good if they were able to even steal a one-map upset away from TYLOO. I mean, it's still only early days so far, but, every little dub you can get yourself on the board in ECL. Going to get you some more ranking system points. Going to get yourself closer to playoffs, especially if you're taking the scalps of the higher-rated teams in the league and then maybe playing some easier teams later down the line. Not really familiar with too many of these NomadS players. I think Shinobi, we've seen him floating around a little bit, but look, if the skin game is anything to go by, then they should have a pretty good day today.
Well, potentially, but I don't know if that's going to be the deciding factor this evening, let's just say. But I'll tell you what I did hear. You know how we were sort of talking about jamming the Valorant, this and that? Jury's really still out on whether or not that was even a thing. I actually spoke to the manager of TYLOO when I was over in China, and he said there was no Valorant involved. It was just a break from CS. Now, whether or not that's true, you can sort of draw your own conclusions. But Jamyoung just took a break. Don't know why, but he's back. So make from that what you will. But what I will say is that Jamyoung definitely didn't look like he was out of out of his depth or anything like that in the server when he was playing at Extremes, and he was really doing quite nicely. So it doesn't really seem to have skipped a beat. And I think my gut feeling now is that people have drawn a conclusion based on him playing Valorant with some of his friends during that break, and some of those friends being on actual Valorant, like VCT or whatever they call it in China, teams.
Yeah, VCTCN.
VCTCN. To my understanding, they've basically seen him playing with some of those players and put 2 and 2 together, but might not have necessarily equaled 4. Seems to be the talk of the town.
Little bit of mid-contest from TYLOO early on here. Still sticking around. A lot of players ready to fight this, and NomadS now starting to make some moves in.
Well, 1 for 1. And now more than 1 for 1 as Attacker and G get involved in the fight. So that's a little bit more like it. As soon as we get the guns in hand, it's a much better look from TYLOO, but they still need to get out of this mid setup. Mercury does a good enough job onto Hanks to ensure that that will be the case. Bomb is going to be retrievable at top mid there.
Need some damage here as KRST. Money's not good all built up yet for TYLOO, so every gun you could take away is going to do a lot of favors. Mercury, I think, is tucked into ladder room, so not presenting himself. He's playing a lot of one and dones. Jamyoung continues to explore that A side of the map, trying to narrow down the possibilities of where the T can possibly be and potentially try to get a little bit of a flank on, but this is a gap for KRST to exploit. He looks away from Mercury, who doesn't check in from Bricks. That's going to be another rifle taken away from the CT side. 10 seconds on the clock. Doesn't check G. But 3 guns taken by NomadS as they look to invest in the next round. Oh, actually, you know what? Their money's not nearly as good as I thought it would be. Don't think they've done a great job min-maxing their economy to get through with a buy here, but I dare say they'll buy up nonetheless.
Yeah, they are going to. You reckon it's KRST or cursed? I reckon it's a play on words. I reckon he's cursed. That's kind of like a cool way of writing it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and
those Mongolian guys, they're all into that kind of thing.
If it wasn't cursed, then it is now. Coined
Like,
here
look
on
at
ESL TV.
Critical. Yeah. All right, let's go with cursed. I think that's cool. All right, anyway. No more for TYLOO. So, still waiting on that one. Money not really quite enabling it. And not quite as much a mid-presence from TYLOO to start this round off. It's pretty default setup from NomadS, all things considered.
Yeah, smoke to top mid and window. Refresh on the window smoke now as they look to make moves into middle. TYLOO just recycling that connector smoke. Keeping the T's at arm's length and making them relatively uncomfortable as they try to take further steps. There's the smoke to top con. TYLOO choosing to play in front of it, looking to continue to fight for this mid control. As the smoke fades in window, Mosey might get a chance as well.
Well, Mosey and Mercury in the end are going to be able to combine for a couple of kills. Just the one gun loss so far for TYLOO in this round. And Cursed is cursed without a team. Cursed with no teammates, perhaps. There's no shortage of wordplay you can get up to with that, but I don't think he's really going to give us a whole lot to get too excited about here with the Deagle. Just having a bit of a crack there at Chi, but really feels a bit of an inevitability at this point that this round is over. It's really just down to Jamyoung ensuring he cleans this one up without losing his head and gets it done nice and easy. So 2 apiece as TYLOO start to work their way back into this match.
Into an easier anti-eco now. NomadS missing the boat on resetting TYLOO's economy, and I think for a team of, you know, this level versus TYLOO, you need to take every reset window that you can get. You need to win every swing round and run away with the momentum if you're going to try to get a bit of an upset going. So that's already a bit of a missed opportunity early on here. That will allow TYLOO to start building up their money. And once TYLOO builds up their money and there's no fear of getting economically reset, that's where they tend to get a little bolder. And TYLOO playing with confidence is usually not a TYLOO that you could stop unless you're one of the very best in Asia.
Yeah, certainly not an environment like this one. Attacker going to get his opportunity to maybe build a bit of confidence back up himself. He'll get a nice double there. So we'll take that, but no damage being done by NomadS in this round. Mercury laboured spray, but then a nice sharp headshot onto Critical, and Shinobi, he is dead. If it were not to the rifle of Jamyoung, it would have been to the grenades, and that is 3 now for TYLOO.
Keeping their economy nice and stable round to round to round. Another buy going to come through for NomadS. Little lighter on the util with AKs and armor. Going to limit their options of running a bit more of a long, drawn-out default where they try to work the mid-control that they've been working, or maybe go for a little bit of beat pressure with the lurk. Instead of them either have to be a much quieter start to the round or something a little faster. That does seem with the investment of the early mid-smokes that they're, again, going to opt for a 1-3-1 and try to go for some mid-pressure, but this is where already the util's running dry, so unless they could find an opportunity in the early round, then things are going to start falling apart. And unfortunately, with the purchase of the AWP and Mercury over the top of the con smoke, it's opportunity that's found them rather than the other way around.
Yeah, Cursed immediately without teammates. Like, this round's 30 seconds long. That's crazy.
That's a Mercury round. If you've ever seen one, G opens up, Mercury over the top of the con smoke, and once he gets those first 2 kills, you definitely know this man's just going to keep looking for more, even just digging that player out of Tetris. No opportunity whatsoever for NomadS to get anything done that round. And I mean, to be fair, with the amount of util that they had, I questioned the approach to begin with. Like, they weren't going to be able to play that long, drawn-out round, but to be fair, they didn't get one at the end of the day.
It's kind of just playing into the hands of TYLOO as well, isn't it? Pretty sharp in the server at the moment. Mercury 8-3. Chi now with the AWP in hands as well, so he'll look to improve upon the 5-3 scoreline he's got at the moment. And he will be able to do just that. 6-3 now for G. I would say he was probably the most stable looking player for TYLOO at Extreme Zone. Certainly the one that seems the most invested in the game. Mosey will go down, but nice grenade from Mercury will instantly find the trade. So yeah, still kind of interested to see where this TYLOO lineup will end up. It's just, this project kind of feels like it's been in stasis or stagnated really for like 2 years almost. I just don't get the feeling that TYLOO have really ended up with the lineup that they would have wanted. And nice little display there from Jamyoung, but like they're so close to being there, but they just can't seem to lock it down. And that's been the case for, like, honestly, like 2 years. They've just been looking for what's our actual team, and you thought they'd found it. Still haven't really seemed to have found it. So I guess we wait another 6 months.
As far as I'm concerned, it's only one player different, so there's no excuses, really. You can, you know, maybe question the in-game leadership or something like that, but pound for pound, this is still one of the best teams in Asia, and they should be contending for first place and nothing less as long as the Mongols aren't around.
Well, I mean, my concern is that, like, that in-game leadership factor and the fact that they are having to constantly play with a fifth that you know is not the actual fifth. It's like, what's going on here? Like, how have we not found a fifth in like 4 months, or at least, you know, something? But regardless, you're right about the fact that they are still one of the better teams in the region. That's the craziest part about it. It's just like we're just leaving so much on the table by not having a confirmed proper fifth.
Yeah. I mean, they got a pretty penny for Starry, so it's not like they don't have the money to get a Chinese player if they want one. And who knows what's happening with this Rare Atom roster and what players will stay or not, if, you know, they're going to continue to be a team or not. Because I don't know how sustainable of a project it is with the average age of all those players. Flush out of the tap. Here's Hooligan. Ends up doing pretty well considering the position that he was in. He's kind of been the standout for NomadS so far today, but somebody else will be forced to step up. Not sure what's going on with the purchasing this round. 3 players have bought, 2 players have saved. Shinobi's found a timing like that. Could be potential if he can hit another shot, but he can't. NomadS are once again treading water in middle.
Yeah, a bit of a weird one this round, to be honest. Seems like TYLOO were kind of happy to let NomadS through con. Seen it a few times in these mid-late rounds.
Yeah, I mean, I like the adjustment. Attacker takes a ramp space. You can't hold everything once you end up in the XVX, so it's give and take. Mosey just kind of monitoring places where the T's can go past the point of no return and punishing Attacker, basically just waiting for a plant and playing an off angle, and the same could be said for G. It's a pretty safe setup in a numbers advantage.
Yep. Mosey close by, going to be able to hear that plant when it comes. But now hearing some footsteps and some good damage onto Hanks is going to mean that Mosey will get himself another one. So 7-2, and TYLOO progressing quite nicely. One might say this is going swimmingly.
Yeah. Now for NomadS, like, what was the long-term plan of this? Okay, now we're going to get 2 sets of 2 people are buying, 3 people will save, apparently. I think we need to go back to the ABCs of Counter-Strike for this team a little bit. Purchasing patterns are all over the place.
Nade into the smoke, but it comes through half a second too late for the AWPer to see Shinobi. So Mercury will be taken down instead, and Hooligans found Attacker. There might actually be an avenue of attack into this round for NomadS. Not going to quite count my chickens before they hatch just yet, because of, well, things like that. That probably should have gone the way of G, all things considered, but apparently Hooligans just having around. He's living up to his name.
Dig onto Mosey as well, and that's where a half purchase is going to do you a lot of favors, because if you're able to pick up a couple of guns and save with the money in the back pocket, then you can give yourself some legs into this half, perhaps. Still enough money for TYLOO to buy into this one, and probably a fair bit into the next one, so we're not really pressuring the CT money too much, but it's a nice round to come by. And ECL, if nothing else, when you're not putting wins on the board, is the kind of league where some of these up-and-coming players can really show their potential, and we see that from a lot of players in Mongolia. So look, we'll write this one down as a good map for Hooligan, but you know, over the whole season. Going to need to see more of that, and maybe he might be a prospect that people keep an eye on.
Yeah, I don't think you can be too mad about that round as TYLOO. You just got to look at that and say, well, they shot us in the head. And that's just what happens sometimes. This time, Critical should definitely be getting traded and will. Mosey up close behind that smoke is still going to be a concern here for Hooligan that I'm not sure he's aware of. At least needs to be cognizant of that possibility. He's got some assistance coming through the underpass. And Mosey's backed out up short. Attacker back into the A bomb site. So mid-control will be established for NomadS at the start of this round.
Need to retrieve the bomb. Re-smoke into window. They haven't, this whole half, really been able to get up connector unless TYLOO's let them. So with attacker sticking around, I dare say the problems aren't ending. Full control of kitchen taken by Mosey with a bait smoke behind him to try to lure the T's into a false sense of security. Not that it's anyone to really realize that, but as Mosey takes more space in apartments, that's where TYLOO will be allowed to lead more heavily towards 8. Duel being taken in towards Murder Hole. Hanks has found Mosey in the meanwhile, so that B push has been punished, and now this could turn into a B split with an A lurk from Cursed.
Jam Young makes it look easy onto Hanks. Bomb dropping into this B bomb site. He's well aware of it. Hooligan doesn't quite manage to land the kill that he needs to at least get the bomb plant down. So could have been something, but it wasn't.
Round had potential. That Mosey punish in towards TV room definitely could have started to turn the tide, but yeah, missed opportunity at the end of the day for NomadS, who will buy up into this one once again. All on the T side going into the hands of Hooligan. Quick mid smokes. Mercury looking to contest, but caught jumping out window. That's an opening pick for NomadS that they haven't had too many of.
Generally, when they've got these opening picks, though, I feel like they have been able to use them.
Well, see how they go this time. Ops out for G. Attacker once again looks to push ramp, but seems like Cursed is aware of that. You've seen that pattern a couple of times for TYLOO. It is something that NomadS may be able to punish here. He should be able to spot the toes, and indeed, he will be aware that the A ramp push has come in, but he still can't win the duel. Attacker, even at the age of, I don't know, for how long he's been playing, maybe 45 at this point, still looking sharp.
It's not quite that old. He's 28.
Bro, he's the same age as me.
Yeah, you're getting on as well. Age comes for us all.
He's a bit sharper, though. And I speak English better.
True.
So, you know,
We all have
pluses
our
and
strengths.
minuses, Jordan.
Jam Young receiving a flash there from Mosey, which didn't quite go to plan, and it's kind of cooked him.
Yeah.
So
that's
now
a
it's on to
failed
Mosey.
Bentet flash, which he uses to throw that in TYLOO, so...
Mosey's going to have to make amends for it, but can't. It's 1 for 1, 2 for 1 overall if we consider Jam Young's death. Bit of a mess really there for TYLOO, but you can see how things do just fall apart when something goes a little wrong. Leaves G and Attacker here for the retake. Molly available for G, but not really seeing how they're going to get themselves out onto this side at the moment. They're not really being given anything by NomadS, despite making as much noise as they possibly can. Molly's going to go to the back pillar, and G will couch Hooligan. But Attacker's gone down in that meanwhile. Now time's ticking away. Flash in the face of G. He can't see anything. The nade won't be enough, but the 5-7 headshot will be. And G, if he gets the kill, might have had a chance for the defuse, but 8-4 will be the score at the end of the first half. back into that second half, and things looking pretty good for TYLOO. Could have been better, but definitely could have been worse. And so far, I think they're kind of delivering what we expected.
Yeah. Just winning all of the Angels. Taking over the game. Had a couple of nice rounds from NomadS here and there. See if that can be good enough to maybe steal a map, pick away, aggression into A ramp here. TYLOO at the ready, anti-flash position. Not needed too much. Attacker wins the first duel, and Mercury there to trade. So with the wall of smokes coming in and flashes over the top, it's a pretty easy site take for TYLOO, and NomadS are a bit out of position and man down.
Yeah, 4 players looking pretty solid and ready to lock this one in. A couple of flashes as well for TYLOO if they want to make a play maybe into CT or through those smokes. Doesn't look like they really want to be getting up to any kinds of shenanigans. They're more than happy to just play this post plan out and let NomadS come to them. Hanks, with those dualies, he's got to do a bit of work there from CT, but he needs one more at least, and he does get it. Time ticking away, though. A big factor here is NomadS don't have a defuse kit to play with, and while Hanks will get that kill, he cannot get Jamyoung. And I don't think he was getting the round anyway. 9 and a pistol for TYLOO.
It'll be very hard to recover from and come back on this CT side at this point. Full spy second round is not really what you want to be going for on CT side Mirage either, so wouldn't be surprised to see that light M4 buy in round number 15. Will just be USPs for the time being. TYLOO really expecting the force to come out though. We've got 5 rifles across the board. We've missed a window smoke, so not the best start. Good news is the range that we can use the rifles at aren't really going to bother us at this range with the USPs. And in fact, they'll even get a pick out of that.
Yeah, too easy for TYLOO. Jamyoung, once again, just proving his class, isn't he? 14 and 5. It's like the guy never left. 15 make it. Critical. Bit of a chance there with the USP, but would have had to be some nice shots. And Cursed, once again, the last player alive. It appears really to be his curse.
See if he can get any exits with the Deagle. But the round's a bit of a foregone conclusion at this point. Already taken 1 rifle away from TYLOO. It's only early days, so... Oh, an extra kill like that or 2 would be fantastic if he can get them. Pretty solid crosshair placement, but down to the last bullet, traded out. So time for NomadS' first gun round here. They've done a little bit of economic damage considering the purchase in that round. They're going to be happy with it. Reinvestment coming in from TYLOO. This is where NomadS, I mean, this might even be kind of the last chance of the game, really. If they can't win this gun round, then it's probably all done.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Definitely wanting to avoid a bomb plan here if possible. Defuse kit not available for NomadS in this round, so getting into a retake situation is not going to be great. Attacker will be picked up as he just tries to shift walk his way down the stairs. It's nice to see NomadS getting a little bit active in this round. You do need to be trying to get up to some funny business. And you've got util lacking like this, and opening up the duels is one good way to do that.
Duels keep it on going in middle. Going the way of TYLOO, unfortunately, though. Both Hanks and Hooligan are in position to start to trade a little bit. Need to take advantage of some of these low HP players, but you can see Jamyoung's calling the boys back over to the A site, which is nice and open for business.
What can they get up to? Can they wrestle this round back in some way? This nice headshot onto Jamyoung, which will put him low. So G, Mercury, and Jamyoung a stone's throw away from death. Mosey going to try to be the enforcer. He's crept through the smoke. Doesn't look like NomadS is going to go for the retake here, which will allow Mosey to start to work middle. And he's hunting Hanks.
Taking one more gun away. He wanted to see that kill go back the other way. NomadS need to slow down this T-side snowballing economy and cannot afford to drop any more rifles. Hooligan sticking around for one more, and he will take the gun away from G. TYLOO can't really hunt them in the positions that they're in. So one rifle retained, can drop one back over to the boys. I don't know, unless you're playing for some kind of crazy comeback. At this point, you're kind of getting already into the territory of probably need to force or at least invest in pistol armor around the rifle and do something with a bit of aggression. Try to get your hands on a rifle or two.
I guess you got to do what you got to do, right? Molly into ramp in case TYLOO's going to be trying to get aggressive, but most of the TYLOO forces are centered around mid, centered around B. Attacker this time will get his revenge. And now it's 3 MP9s and an M4 to try to defend the sites, and TYLOO already have that mid control. You've got Jam Young lurking around in Palace. Once that smoke starts to fade, he'll be a problem too.
TPA ramp position from Curse. He's able to catch somebody off guard, maybe. Could be a bit of a difference maker. Hanks jump spotting apartment still. G seems aware of this, and Attacker is close enough to trade. But they're lining up and execute. Attacker low HP. That's an easier first kill to get, but probably the low HP player going down is not going to trouble TYLOO too much.
Taps in from Mercury. The connection's not quite enough to get the kill, and Shinobi's been able to get himself one, but that will not get us out of our seats, unfortunately. So he'll be brought down by G. A site more or less taken, and unless Hanks get up to some funny business out from CT here, you'd imagine the round is going to be over. Critical will be found. Jam Young has spotted out Hanks, so that'll be it. Pretty much done and dusted. Not just the round, but you'd imagine the map here too. Mercury, easy flank, and that'll be 12.
Yeah, nicely done. 3.4 for some of these players, not where you want to be with the map on the line. But look, realistically, the way that this game has been going, it's kind of always been going the way of TYLOO, which is what's to be expected of an ECL game like this. Pound for pound, just, you know, one of the sharpest rifling cores in Asia. Even if there's a bit of roster instability in the mix. Smokes into middle again from TYLOO. Molly onto Con. Going to be put out by the Molly of Shinobi. This is where this B app's aggression and first pick is going to throw caution to the wind. You already see the rotation coming in from Hooligan, but it's only one player over there creating all of this pressure. And in the meanwhile, TYLOO's taking so much of middle.
All right. What can NomadS do about it? Probably nothing is the answer. But if there was a way, maybe it's Cursed making a push out of a main right now. That would be the timing to do it, but doesn't look like he's going to opt for it. Still a little bit worried about what's happening at Palace. Shinobi trying to have a bit of a peek into Connector. Time is ticking away from this round, and that rotation off from Hooligan is going to be part of the problem. Critical, the only defender on the B site right now, as TYLOO start to dump their util. They've waited for the player to come up short as well, and it's just a little bit too easy. Hooligan brought down without a shot coming through from that scout. And Cursed, again, is the last one alive.
Not much to show for it, unfortunately. 13-4 for TYLOO. Just another day in ECL being one of the sharpest teams in Asia. Running around the server, taking everyone's heads off, and even with a bit of a standard situation, doesn't really trouble them too much. So NomadS going to have to bring a lot more fire to the next